Welcome to the first ever Women in 3D Printing Career Fair. We're so excited to have you all here. Looks like we got a great turnout. We have 16 confirmed hiring companies, and then a few more that are going to be wandering around the networking session later on, so keep an eye out for them as well. Just as a bit of an introduction, we're going to be doing this twice a year, one in the summer and then one in the winter. The winter one will be during the week of our TYPE conference. I'm going to show a little bit of a teaser video here in a bit. If you're not familiar with the TYPE conference, we did our first one just this last January, and the second one is going to be the same week in January in 2022. So we're very excited for that, and we will, again, like I said, have this career fair then. So to start things off, I'm going to show you a quick little teaser on the TYPE conference. This is a little bit of a teaser from what we showed, what we did last year. There we go. I was muted. So just a quick little summary of what to expect in the upcoming conference. You'll notice that all the speakers are women, but everyone is encouraged to attend. We've had a lot of men attend previous events, and we also want to continue to do that. Women in 3D printing is all about diversity and inclusion, and that's not at the expense of half the population. So everyone's welcome, and it's free to attend. So check it out. The website is up, and you can get more information there, and you can reach out to me directly if you're interested in sponsoring. All right, so to get to it, the agenda today, we're going to start off with a keynote presentation from Sarah Goehrke. She's our Director of DEI Initiatives at Women in 3D Printing. We're going to switch then to a recruiting and training panel. It'll be only 30 minutes, but go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A on the right-hand side. If you do have any questions, we will definitely try to get to those. We'll then move on to all the announcements and introductions from the hiring companies. They're going to each have 4 minutes to present what they do and what they're looking for. And then when that's over, we're going to move on to back to the networking, where each of those companies will have a table and you can stop by and ask them any questions there as well.
Thank you so much, Kristin, for the warm welcome and for all the work you've done getting this event together. So welcome everyone to the first Women in 3D Printing Virtual Career Fair. It is a delight to be here, and it's an even bigger delight to introduce our newest initiative at Women in 3D Printing, which is our diversity, equity, and inclusion programming. It is being built by demand from companies within the industry. And I'd like to share just a little bit more about what we're hoping to build through this program with you right now in a brief presentation. So if you hold on for just one moment, I'm going to pull this up. Welcome you to Women in 3D Printing, our virtual career fair, and how we are working for the future of the AM workforce through DEI. So first, you're here with us at a Women in 3D Printing event, so hopefully you know a little about us. But if not, I'd love to give you a quick overview about what we hope to do. And our foundational message for the last 6.5 years has been promoting, supporting, and inspiring women using additive manufacturing technologies. We've been doing this through huge growth. We've Nora Torre started this 6.5 years ago as a blog, and since she started it featuring women from across the industry, we've had more than 250 guests featured in the blog. But we've also grown to local events and regional events. We've got more than 75 chapters in more than 30 countries around the world. It's truly a global enterprise. We present regular virtual panels. We have a mentorship program that's new with more than 100 female mentors. We welcome people to get involved with that as either a mentor or a mentee. We've got a database of more than 150 female speakers. So anyone who says we can't find a female speaker for our event, we have you covered. And we've also grown to a community of more than 23,000 men and women across the globe. This map could use some updating, but this is just a quick look at where some of our chapters are located that in non-pandemic times have local meetups to get connected with your local community, and now have virtual meetups so that we can be sure to remain connected right now. Because overall, what we look to do at Women in 3D Printing is to bring the community together. This photo was taken at FormNext 2018, and you can see just some of the women who attended FormNext that year in Germany, and how we can all really get together and form a community of like-minded individuals. And so what we're looking to do now is continue that growth and continue to make this an industry that's open to and inclusive of everyone. DEI at Women in 3D Printing is a new initiative within our nonprofit that's focusing on making DEI actionable, understandable, and accessible. A focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion will allow us to really expand beyond the foundational focus at Women in 3D Printing on gender parity, which remains obviously very important to us, but to really expand and create resources for more individuals across a variety of identities and communities, and really create not just the idea, but the understanding that this is an industry for everyone. Wherever you come from, whatever your identity, whatever you identify as, however you identify, this is an industry for you. So we've created this new initiative to make resources, to make that really happen and be more than just words. We're starting with conversations, but we want everything to be more than just words. So here's a photo from a meetup we had in Cleveland just last week. We had men, we had women, we had people from lots of different communities. And it was our first meetup in Cleveland ever, actually. And it was my first time seeing the industry in more than 2 years. And so it was wonderful to see men and women from across the Northeast Ohio area just really coming together, because our messaging is simple. This industry is for everyone. And so what we want to do is develop programming around that and be able to partner with companies to provide resources to everyone that show how inclusive this industry can really be. We want to create resources for the industry, such as data benchmarking surveys, taking stock of where we are and looking ahead to what our goals are. We want to create quarterly and annual industry reports, sharing that information and looking at specific opportunities for growth, different challenges we face, barriers we've already overcome, what we're doing as far as adoption, how we're growing, how inclusive we are, and how individuals across this industry are impacted. We're going to be building on the Diversity for Additive Manufacturing event reports. I was a part of spearheading that effort in 2018, and we've been providing semi-annual reports focusing on the diversity of this industry with data, with objective as well as subjective information about the industry. We again started up with gender parity last summer. We expanded a little bit the focus of the diversity there, as we've always been planning to do. We had an issue focusing on racial disparity and how that impacts our industry. We've worked with groups like Black Women in Science and Engineering to make sure that we really gather and provide the best resources from the voices of those impacted. I'm looking to produce regular, probably bi-monthly virtual events where we can just keep the conversation going, starting with things like the business case for diversity and why it makes sense for companies to embrace DEI within their own internal cultures, and highlighting things like how there are double-digit percentage figures showing that companies embracing DEI are more profitable, more successful than companies that don't feel like developing their own workforce is that important. So we want to work with companies, we want to work with event organizers and provide resources to those companies directly, such as workshops focusing on hiring and retention practices. We want to offer workshops on speaker coaching so that more people are comfortable sharing their expertise. We want to help companies develop their own internal DEI team strategies. We want to work with companies to develop and distribute their corporate value statements, both wide company mission and response statements to anything happening. We want people to know how to make messaging like Stop Asian Hate really hit home and really carry on. We want to work with events as well to develop inclusive and accommodating policies for everyone who might attend. And so today we're really kicking this off publicly. This is a role I just stepped into last month. I am still learning. I'm learning very actively. I'm enrolled in coursework at Cornell to gain a real understanding. I'm working with companies and individuals across our industry in 3D printing, as well as those outside in diverse groups, those who work in DEI and have done so for years, consulting and offering services. But I can't do it alone. So I would love to invite you to be part of what we're building here at Women in 3D Printing DEI as either a volunteer, a corporate partner, or a corporate sponsor. Volunteers can get in on the ground floor building these resources and help to establish this programming at Women in 3D Printing DEI and really work with like-minded individuals building a stronger, more inclusive workforce, providing resources so we can focus together on important issues that it's tough to talk about. We can talk about sexual harassment. We can talk about Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate. We can talk about parental leave. We can talk about these human aspects that really impact all of us and how we work, and see how we can work with companies to help that make a difference. Through Women in 3D Printing DEI, we have opportunities to lead development of events, programs, surveys, and reports, as well as corporate partnerships and more resources that we'll continue to build together. Companies that choose to partner with us through Women in 3D Printing DEI, and we are limiting it for 2021 as we grow, so we can do this sustainably and well. I believe we're starting with 3 foundational partners this year who are all already in progress, but for 2022 especially, we do hope to open this up to more opportunities. We would like to work directly with companies. This will build upon Women in 3D Printing corporate memberships, which already have a great way to show that your company is dedicated to women in 3D printing and to developing gender parity. But then for a DEI specific partnership, we'll be able to work with you to understand how you're doing these things and offer you a badge to put on your hiring to know, so that your job candidates understand that you are looking out for these things, and not just to hire diverse candidates, but to really create a company culture that is inclusive and accommodating and welcome to those that you bring into your workforce. Partnership will also include event or panel sponsorship, as well as work for corporate statement development and opportunities to go well beyond this into all of the other resources that we hope to offer and build together. And of course, there are sponsorship opportunities available for companies looking to just start, you have to start somewhere. So why not start with one thing? Why not start working with us to develop your corporate mission statement? So we work with you to understand what you're about and help you convey that. And we can work with you to help develop your own internal resources and just build better together. So I welcome everyone here to please get in contact with me. My information is on your screen. I will be putting some links in the chat. We have opportunities for volunteers and for sponsors to get together through Women in 3D Printing. We have a volunteer form through the Women in 3D Printing website. We've got a dedicated Women in 3D Printing Slack channel. We have a female-only LinkedIn group. The Slack channel is inclusive of everyone. And of course, every Women in 3D Printing event is always open to everyone who would like to join us. And so that is just a very quick overview of what we're hoping to build at Women in 3D Printing. I do see there's a question already in our inbox about wanting to volunteer. Who should I reach out to and how? If you'd like to volunteer with me at DEI, that's great. Please reach out to me at the contact information you see on your screen, sarah@womenin3dprinting.com. I've also put a link in the chat to our volunteer form at Women in 3D Printing, which is very easily findable through womenin3dprinting.com. And I thank you all so very much for your attention. I'm thrilled to be starting on this new journey with Women in 3D Printing, deepening my involvement. I'm very easy to get a hold of. I'm at Sarah Goehrke on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And again, my information is on the screen. So thank you all for joining. And as we continue to focus on building a stronger workforce, let's take a closer look at the actionable areas of that as we get into our next panel. And Kristin, I would love to turn this back over to you as we move forward with today's agenda in our career fair.
Thanks, Sarah. I should have actually done a better introduction at the beginning. Sarah is also our on our board of directors at Women in 3D Printing, as of myself and Janet Carr, who's also attending today. So if you find any of us and have any questions, feel free to reach out to us during the networking session. Janet heads up our Next Gen program, so if you have questions about that, you can find her as well. And if you have questions about corporate membership or sponsorships, feel free to reach out to me directly. But as Sarah said, there's the volunteer form. So, and we always need volunteers. All of us here are volunteers, so we're always looking for people to help. So thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right. So next up, we have our recruiting and training panel. This is, really, I think, a great group of people that can give you a very good perspective on the AM industry in general. We have Laura Eli. She's the Director of Programs at the Barnes Global Advisors. She has a very special announcement today that I'm very excited about. So this will be very exciting. We also have Jen Killingback. She's the Director of North America at Alexander Daniels Global. And we have Greg Waters. He's the founder and director at Additae Global. Greg is a very big supporter of Women in 3D Printing. So I wanted to make sure that he's got 2 daughters himself, I believe. So I want to make sure we had him here as well. So I'll leave it to you, Laura, and we'll come back for Q&A in about 15, 20 minutes.
Thank you. Sounds good, Kristin. Today's event, as we've just heard from the opening, is all about people. And it had me reflecting on a quote from Jane Goodall, which is, every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. So I'm joined today by Greg and Jennifer. They are 2 specialist additive manufacturing recruiters who are making a difference by placing individuals, hopefully, in their additive manufacturing dream job. We're going to do a really quick blitz of introductions and a little bit of advice, and then we're going to get straight into Q&A. So if you go over to the Q&A tab and you have questions, please go ahead and start putting them in there. We'll start upvoting them. So I'm going to start with Jen. Can you tell us how you got into AM and some of your advice for AM job seekers?
So I have been in additive manufacturing recruitment as both an HR manager and as the director at Alexander Daniels Global. We're a recruitment firm that focuses just on additive manufacturing for 6 years now, collectively. And I came into this actually doing research for my son who was in CAD and didn't like it. And I found 3D printing, and that took me on this journey. And then once you're in 3D printing, you don't ever want to leave. So hence, this is what I do every day.
That's fantastic. And as far as advice that you have for people that are seeking AM jobs right now, what are your kind of top 3 things that you think people should be reflecting on?
Top 3 things are, if you are a designer, whether it's a mechanical engineer, design for additive, you should have a portfolio that you can share with prospective employers. I understand that a lot of drawings are covered under NDA, so you might want to design some things yourself in your own time, because that does help the application process. The other thing is having letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation are an instant reference for you. And when you can submit those things early on in the process, that can definitely accelerate the, let's say the actual hiring and interviewing process as it moves forward. And then lastly, I would say you need to be honest and open about relocation. Additive manufacturing is still very much, East Coast, West Coast, down through the Southern Belt, and then in the Great Lakes. But the opportunities, most of them, as of late, are requiring relocation. So just be open and honest at that point if you are able to relocate, and where you will and where you won't. That's probably my 3 best ideas for getting a job in additive.
Excellent. Same questions to Greg. How did you get into AM, and what advice do you have to add to Jen's points?
Yeah, great points, Jen. Yeah, I got into additive I was working in I've been in recruitment for 16 years now, and I was working in manufacturing recruitment, and then all of a sudden something dropped on my desk from my boss, and it had additive manufacturing written on the top, and of course I didn't have a clue what that was, but like you do when you get into this industry, you do the research, you speak to some helpful people, find out the information, and then of course once you start to understand what that is, and then started working on roles that were obviously slightly broader than some of the stuff I was doing in more traditional manufacturing, there was no going back for me. So yeah, I was won and hooked basically.
Excellent. And top advice that you would add to Jen's points for AM job seekers? Yeah,
the first one is the same thing I would say to anybody in this industry, is use your network. I mean, it's the main thing that we do. It's the main thing I did when I was learning about the industry. Good friend of yours, actually, Laura, really helped me. And that was kind of it. I asked a lot of people for help. I was very open about what I didn't know, which was a lot. And I think it's the same for anybody, reach out to people that people that might have helped you through your academic career, people that you've come across on internships, whoever that might be, always. And be bold, don't be afraid to ask for help, because there are a lot of people in this industry who are prepared to help you on your journey. I would also say, a lot of companies advertising for jobs at the moment. One thing I think people need to be doing is making sure before you apply to a role, make sure you research the company and just do a bit of work to tailor your application, because, we've all got a resume, we've all got a LinkedIn profile, but it doesn't really help you to be putting the same application out for every single kind of role to every single kind of company. So a little bit tweaking on each one, a little bit of work makes a huge amount of difference. And just do extra stuff. I mean, most of the people that we've worked with and placed, particularly during their academic career, they do extra bits. They do internships. They do things out on the weekend. Side hustles, I suppose you'd call it. But anything like that you can do to make your, make your profile jump out. Basically, that's a really, really key piece of advice, particularly for people that are still in academia, because you have a little bit of extra time there. So,
excellent. Thank you, Greg. So I'll answer the questions myself. I've been in additive for about 8 years. I got to be person number 1 in North America for additive for GKN Aerospace. I got to stand up a directed energy deposition team and sign a big CRADA with Oak Ridge National Labs. So it's a big whirlwind and a lot of fun. Now I am the director of programs for the Barnes Global Advisors, and we do 3 core things: consulting, training, and communications. And I've got a team of engineers that have over 130 years of cumulative AM experience. So not only do I get to help other people learn, but I get to learn every single day. And so with this, I've done lots of hiring, career championing, and mentoring over the last decade or so. So the additional advice that I'll add to these great points from Jen and from Greg is to really reflect on your career and try to plot that out. And I don't mean like having the exact answer to where do you see yourself in 5 years, but it's what types of roles do you want to enable, and then working on your skills development plan to make sure that you're enabling that future. So from an additive manufacturing standpoint, obviously the number one thing is to have real on-the-job training, hands-on experience. So internships, co-ops, volunteer. We had a guy that took our AM certificate with Purdue one time, and he went back to his company, built a business case to buy some 3D printers, and now he's their additive manufacturing lead. So enabling your own future. That was a very actionable one. As I mentioned, there's a couple of different ways to get education. So I know that we have multiple people on here that are, PhDs, and I saw some masters. There are degrees in additive manufacturing. Both Penn State and CMU have that. It's a very comprehensive and multidisciplinary education approach. And then there's multiple certificates out there that are really great for working professionals. So we have our TBGA one done in concert with Purdue. It's an AM online certificate. It's learn at your own pace. Usually takes people about 15 weeks. MIT has a highly respected AM certificate that's online as well. So there's plenty of opportunities there to get a little extra feather in your cap as far as an educational standpoint. Okay, it looks like we're having questions starting to pop up. We're going to transition into that. Before we do that, I did want to make the quick announcement. So to support our shared TBGA and Women in 3D Printing goal of increasing diversity in the AM industry, TBGA is going to sponsor 2 scholarships for the Purdue Online AM Certificate. These will be for participants of the TYPE conference coming up in January of 2022. Time is flying. And we'll provide a link in the comments. All are welcome to apply. And I hope that you consider that opportunity to possibly further your skills. All right, let's move on over. We've got top of the list. What should I include on my resume to increase my chances of being noticed? Ladies first, let's start with Jen.
So the first thing that I'd like people to remember, because we do work in a really high-tech field, is the initial person reviewing resumes may not be an engineer. They may be someone who understands the technology from the outside, and they have keywords that they're looking for to pass that resume on to a hiring manager or further up the chain. So try when you're doing your resumes to be a little bit more concise. So, use the acronyms, for DED, powder bed fusion, FDM, FFF, those types of things, because those are keywords that they're probably looking for, or they have in their algorithm within their applicant tracking system to match candidates up more. Other things on your resume, if you are in metals, list your metals. If you're in plastics, list your plastics. What is your expertise? Things that you can speak confidently about. If you're in sales, you're going to want to list the verticals that you have the most in your Rolodex. I've had job orders in the past where they've expressly asked for people that have 2-star generals in their Rolodex. And for anybody that doesn't know, that's an old kind of like phone book thing that you put your cards in. But basically, you want to highlight what really stands out for the layperson that's reading your resume in that first 30 seconds.
Excellent.
Greg?
Yeah, great points, Jen. I think that the main thing that we tend to, not the main thing, the main things apart from what Jen said, is achievements really, and achievements that can be quantifiable if you can. I mean, if you're coming out of academia, we've all done great things when we were at college, but I mean, if you can just talk about anything that might be an award, might have been the additional work that you might have done, but anything that's quantifiable. So whether you've been able to do something that's proved something, or improved an efficiency, or saved some money somewhere, if you can quantify that and put that on there, that kind of information jumps out alongside the great points that Jen made. I think it's just important to be impactful, because of course, same with all these things, you only get the one chance to make that first impression. So you've got to jump out, and again, you've got to jump out to somebody that might not be 100% au fait with what the detail of the role looks like.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to move on to question number 2. How important is the content on my LinkedIn profile during a job search?
So one thing that I like to recommend to candidates when we do work with them and we're looking at their LinkedIn profile is to have a somewhat professional profile picture. And then in the, I think it's called the cover photo, the big long photo in the background, to also have that a professional photo. Whether it's something for your company, maybe it's something, if it's metal additive, maybe you have metal parts in the background, or something that relates to the industry you're in. Make sure that your titles are up to date. Put responsibilities. A lot of times I'll go to a profile and it'll just have titles and companies, but it doesn't explain what you do. And the one thing that's consistent in our industry is the inconsistency of titles versus responsibilities. So it's always nice to kind of explain what you do in that role at that company.
Yeah, great points, Jen. I think I'd probably go back to what I was saying about resumes. Again, you want to be, you've got to stand out. You've got to be impactful. So, where you can put information about things that you've achieved. And again, I'd say all the time, but it's true. If it's quantifiable, it's so much more impactful than if you kind of, I was on this team and we did this thing. If you've led something, or if you've achieved something, or if you've made a saving, or if you've improved an efficiency, and you can quantify that numerically. It sounds basic, but it's amazing how when people are scanning profiles, because they do, that's hugely important. So if it can be a kind of concise, kind of squeezed down version of your resume, actually, that's probably a decent way of describing it.
Yeah, I think those hitting the right keywords on LinkedIn is a really big deal. So I know I have something about, technology leader, and I do get reached out to for people that are looking for a technology leader. So similar to that, if you're looking for, AM design, whatever it is, materials for AM, including those within either your title or high up in your profile, I'm sure is going to help with people who are searching, because you're going to come up higher up on their list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Next question. What should I do if a company is making a lowball offer?
I would say the first thing is understand why the offer is what it is. Are you coming from a high cost area to a low cost area, or vice versa? What is the requirements for the role? Is it a startup? Is it a publicly traded company? Is there equity shares involved? Are the benefits paid for? What are the benefits? There's so many different aspects to an offer that you kind of have to pick the whole thing apart before you go into negotiating, at least so you know what you're actually negotiating, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, the best advice I can give anybody that's managing an offer and isn't sure about, how they should respond to something they think is like, I'd say the best advice is to reach out to an experienced additive manufacturing recruiter. I mean, obviously, AD do a report. I'm sure Jen's the same. We deal with companies and candidates all day every day that talk to us about salaries and offers and all that kind of business. That's live information, and actually, you can't really get that information anywhere else other than at the coalface, which is where we live. So that would be the best piece of advice I could give: is ask Jen or ask me, quite frankly.
Yeah, somebody on my team. And if you didn't get the salary report, it's a free download on the website every year.
Yeah, and I know that people have asked me questions like that as well. And actually, some of them I bounced off people like you to say, this seems out of whack, but is it? Maybe I'm missing something. So I think that's the thing, is you guys see that every day, day in and day out, and you can also see the trends and different locational and regional aspects as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next question is, what is the best approach to getting an introductory role in AM with limited experience?
What is the best approach? I have to go with what Greg said. I think you have to network. I think you need to be upfront with what experience you do have. Don't oversell yourself, be honest. And then also be open to what those opportunities might be. I've had an instance where someone, let's say, had a mechanical engineer degree. They had a little bit of experience in the lab at school and elsewhere, and they were dead set that they had to be a mechanical engineer. And then once I explained an application role, or I explained some other roles like DFAM, and then they were like, oh, like it was a much bigger palette for them to choose from versus being just set on, this is my degree and this is the job that I want. Because Additive offers many different opportunities that don't quite follow a conventional engineering degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Jen's dead right. That's all networking. I mean, there's a bunch of different places, of course, you can do it. Places even like Clubhouse, it's a bit of an acquired taste of an app, but actually within Clubhouse there's a group called Build Volume, where a lot of the great and the good from the AM industry spend a lot of their time, and it's amazing. It's a really nice kind of flat hierarchy where people just basically talk about the industry with no, your job title becomes irrelevant. So it's nice to be able to talk to people and share experiences about what have you done and how difficult did you find this? And is this something that you found, I think that's the key word, network. Jen's dead right. I mean, whichever way you do it, speak to people in the industry and, like I said at the start, ask for help. You'd be amazed how willing people are to help in this industry.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I'd kind of add to that from my background and experience, when I stood up my first team, I really needed a diversity of experience. I knew that. So I pulled in some people that had been, 25 years in manufacturing. They didn't have any additive manufacturing knowledge, but they had manufacturing aptitude. So I knew that if we immersed Mark in enough of the AM, that he would get it, but he was bringing all these other skills and knowledge with him. And then I also brought in some people that did have actual research knowledge and additive and put them together. But the third category is someone that I felt just had amazing life experience and I felt like they could be successful. So I brought in a gentleman who had 5 years of experience in the Army. And he came in and he spoke well. I mean, he had like life experience. Like the rest of us, we're like, oh, we might have some manufacturing experience, but he brought life experience. Well, a couple of years later, when I left, he's the one that took my place. He is the leader of that team. So I do believe, I know I personally was perfectly willing to take a risk on someone that didn't have additive or a lot of manufacturing experience. But what I looked at was he showed that he had aptitude and willingness to learn, plus a lot of leadership skills. And so I think highlighting the things that you're bringing to the job and the aptitude that you have is really important, because it pretty much tells people, I might not know this today, but I'm willing to learn and expand and fill a role.
Yeah, totally agree.
Okay.
Laura, there is one question on there that somebody addressed on something I said. It said, Jen gave the advice to be open to relocating. Don't you think it's possible to work remotely? The COVID demonstrated this. If I could just have a second to address that, so they didn't feel left off.
Yeah.
Yes, with COVID, we did have a lot of remote work, which was mandated by the different states or countries, give or take. I think now that we're coming on the backside of the pandemic, hopefully, more and more of the companies are wanting people back in the office, because one thing that does happen is that they feel like, first of all, not every job can be remote because you need to touch the machine. They can't put $1 million powder bed fusion machine in every garage or hub for people to work on. So certain roles have to be in the office. Yes, there are roles that do not. For instance, I'm working on software roles that are remote. So software engineering roles don't necessarily have to be in, but if you're a process engineer, application, R&D, mechanical design of the machines, that's why they want you in the office. And on the flip side of that, you also have to understand that the more, some of them felt that the more that people were away, they felt some of their corporate culture slipping, because everybody was just a text message away or a Slack message away, and they were kind of losing that camaraderie that they had within the walls. So I just wanted to take a chance to answer that since it had my name in it.
Absolutely. And I think with that, of course, it is highly dependent on the role and what you're expected to be doing. Obviously, the ones that are more manufacturing related, you probably need to be close to the machines. And so the remote type thing's probably not working for that. Okay, so I have two questions. I think we can kind of combine them a little bit. One says, hello, I'm an MSc in material science and engineering. I have theoretical knowledge in additive manufacturing, but I don't have practical experience. Can I have chances to get a job in additive manufacturing? And the one right below it is, please, advice for people in academic R&D. So I think those kind of go together. So somebody that has more advanced degrees in materials and science, engineering, what advice do you have for them as far as trying to get into an AM role?
I would have to say that most times it really does come down to the practical experience. Many of the clients that I work with will, look at someone with maybe just a year outside of research school, doing academic R&D, but they really want the practical experience of them being under like corporate deadline. That's what they kind of push for, is that corporate deadline, that rush, the startup highs and lows. It's not to say that it doesn't happen, but I think if you do have that background, you need to highlight, like Greg had mentioned, your biggest achievements on that resume, be prepared to talk about it. And then of course, to network with the people that would be hiring in that particular company or that area that you specialize in.
Yeah. what Jen said, pretty much.
Nailed it.
But then of course the other part, and this is why Jen and I are on this thing, is the other part is really you need to speak to experienced additive manufacturing recruiters, because there will be companies out there that will take people with that kind of background. Laura, you talked about aptitude. You know, there are companies that Laura knows and that Jen knows and that I know, where they will be a bit more flexible on their you know, what you need to have on your resume, basically. And you know, if you and also if you know, if we know a hiring manager particularly well and we get a good fit, because one of the things we're always looking to do is you know, hire on matching value systems. And if you've got a candidate with a particularly strong value system, whether that's a work ethic or a desire to learn or whatever it might be, and that matches the value system of the hiring manager, then sometimes you can circumnavigate that part that's missing, like you did, Laura, at you can, and then sometimes that can create a match made in heaven that you otherwise you wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
thought about. So yeah, I would say that the best thing for people to do in that situation is reach out to Jen, reach out to me, honestly.
Yeah, I would say the other thing that I'll kind of note is it depends on what type of role a company is hiring for as to whether they're going to apply value to advanced degrees. So often someone that's just hiring for more of a strictly manufacturing job, by the time they see a master's or a PhD, they might just kind of go, ooh, this person's probably going to want more money because they invested that in than what I can necessarily pay for them. But on the flip side, people that are operating more in the R&D space, whether that's basic or applied research, absolutely are looking for people that have done research and, you know, understand that methodology. So it's not to say that the manufacturing folks won't hire advanced degrees, they certainly will, but just understand that you may need to be working really, really hard to highlight maybe if you have some multidisciplinary knowledge or something like that, the way you're selling yourself to that group is going to be different than I know how to do research and development.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, what is the best way to find smaller startup companies using AM?
Okay, so I'm going to speak on the startup side of companies that are in AM, because that's the part that I know. To find the smaller startup companies in AM, there's different websites that you can use if you're researching additive manufacturing, like Crunchbase. Crunchbase lists all different types of companies, and not just our industry. I mean, any industry, you can use them to find companies. I think really the trade magazines, online magazines that we all subscribe to and see on LinkedIn and elsewhere is a good place to look as well. I guess I would kind of want to understand that question a little bit better, like if they're trying to understand where the adopters are using AM, because that I would not be able to help you with directly.
Yeah,
without doing my own research.
Sometimes the using AM is a little bit more behind the curtains and behind the scenes. I think once again, LinkedIn usually is pretty decent at, you know, people are talking about it. If they're startups, they're raising money. There'll be big announcements on, hey, a VC invested over here. So, I mean, I think if you're engaged with the right groups there's people that tend to share information about that pretty regularly. As far as the behind the scenes, again, I think that's part of the network. I think that's also part of the recruiters, because you guys are going to know who's looking for what, and it might be completely private and not in the public space where anyone can search for it.
Yeah, I totally agree, Laura. I mean, I would say to anyone for that question is get in contact with me. I mean, I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, but I will say because of the way we're networked in the US and in Europe, you get, and I'm sure it's the same for Jen, you get a lot of information that of course, you're not going to necessarily see on the internet. You can use all the other platforms to search. But I think one thing that we're constantly getting information about is, where little pockets are springing up from, or where companies are springing up from. People that we've worked with in the past in certain sort of senior positions that then go on to be kind of board advisors and then come onto the board of a startup, and then you get it. Not only do you get the information about the company, but then we get the confidence that company has been backed by somebody that we trust. Which obviously in the startup situation is key because, they can go either way. But I think that would be my best advice, would be, again, reach out to the experienced AM recruiters, because we do hear about a lot of that stuff that perhaps, you won't find in other places.
Yeah, because particularly in North America, it's predominantly startups to begin with.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
who we mostly work with. So
Yeah, and it's a huge trend at the moment of companies that have come out of startup in the last, even just 3-4 years going public, and there's loads of upside to that. So yeah, companies that are springing up in the last 2 years, coming into those kind of companies right now can be hugely advantageous for candidates looking for long-term benefits. Not just salary, but if you're looking at equity as well, it can be hugely advantageous.
Very good. I appreciate both of your input, and judging by the fact that Kristin is popping up as well as my look at the clock, I think we are right at time. Thank you so much to Jen and Greg and Kristin for organizing this, and for everyone that's looking for jobs as well as the hiring companies. I wish you lots of luck with that, and go out and make a difference.
Thanks everyone.
Laura.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Greg. That was really helpful. We've recorded this, so hopefully we'll be able to share this later as well. We'll share it on LinkedIn if nothing else. So keep your eyes peeled if you want to see it again. All right, so we got to rush through now. We've got 16 companies to hear from. So to start things off, we've got AlphaStar. So each one of these companies, we're going to give them 4 minutes. And we're going to see how quickly we can get everyone to share their information. First off, AlphaStar, we have Sarah Abdi. She's the Marketing Communications Manager. Sarah, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here today and present you guys the few different open opportunities we have at AlphaStar. So 4 minutes, okay, let's go. AlphaStar is an engineering software company that provides innovative physics-based simulation technologies. We are headquartered in Irvine, California. As a simulation solution provider, our tools are used to address real-life scenarios in the aerospace, automotive, defense, energy, and discrete manufacturing industries. Over 30 plus years of experience developing cutting-edge tools has given us the ability to lend a hand to companies by improving product, reducing costs, and of course accelerating the time to market. AlphaStar is the recipient of esteemed industry and technology awards, including a couple of R&D 100 awards, a NASA Columbia Accident Investigation Award, US Senate Tibbetts Award, NASA Goals into Reality Award, and of course we have over 400 published papers and 5 published books. AlphaStar prides itself on taking on customers' toughest challenges, and while most of our projects are confidential, those published include certification by analysis supported by test, manufacturing process simulation, so specifically 3D printing, additive manufacturing simulation, filament winding, COPV, autoclave, and of course, advanced design, including impact, crash, composite fatigue, residual stress determination, durability and damage tolerance analysis, and composite analysis and design. So that includes material characterization and B-basis allowables, advanced materials, so including ceramic, chalk, So we currently have 2 open positions at AlphaStar. The first is a user software interface developer. We're looking for a who's willing to learn new skills and work independently. You'll be able to tap into the expertise and resources of AlphaStar within the flexibility of a small company setting. Include C++ based applications with OpenGL 3D graphics and Java based applications with Java Swing. The required experience that we're looking for is some pretty good competence in C++, Java, Java Swing, Windows applications, so not web-based, revision control systems, including GIT and CVS. Highly desired experience for this role is experience in 3D graphics, so OpenGL, Java 3D, Python, and FLTK. Our open position is a software engineer. So again, a highly motivated team player who is willing to work independently. You'll be responsible for developing test-validated benchmarks for AlphaStar's family of tools, and you'll also have direct participation in the planning and implementation of new features for our software development. The person should have a master's of science in mechanical or aerospace engineering or related fields, 5 to 8 years of experience, needs to have some FEA experience building complex structures and thermal models, excellent theoretical knowledge, and applied knowledge of computing. And the candidate should be familiar with additive manufacturing and have a working knowledge of LS Dyna, ANSYS, Abacus, and NX. Kristin's back, so I know I'm out of time. And lastly, we always do have, I saw a lot of you guys asking for internship positions. If AlphaStar is of interest to you, we do normally offer different summer internships, so feel free to.
Great, thanks, Sarah. Sarah's on the first floor in the networking session later for AlphaStar. Check her out if you have any additional questions. We also, if there's time for any of the presenters, we will try to get to the Q&A if you have any questions. If we don't have time, definitely just seek them out on the networking floor later. So next up, we have Laura Lynn McDaniel. She's in charge of strategy and engagement at ASME. Laura Lynn, all yours.
There we go. It didn't. So happy to be here and talk to everyone. ASME is the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. And despite its name, it is a very international organization with offices in Asia and Europe and throughout the US. We are a not-for-profit professional society, and we have a growing additive manufacturing group within ASME. Today, we're looking for advisors, industry advisors, and new standards development committee members. So our advisors is a great way to network and connect with others in additive manufacturing. We have a great group of people in 4 different groups. They are medical, aerospace, automotive, and energy, which includes both oil and gas and renewables. And all of these groups, their role is to identify challenges to using additive manufacturing and then to either find the resources or help to develop the resources. Much of the work is done through monthly phone calls. These groups also support our industry events, but we also take on projects that the groups identify. So it could be something like a review of existing standards and regulations to help people better understand the way to get something to market. The second opportunity that we have today is a new additive manufacturing standards development committee focused on non-metallics. There are several organizations involved in developing standards for additive manufacturing, which are critical to repeatability and maximizing the use of additive manufacturing. But one area that isn't being touched much is the polymers and other non-metallics. So I will drop into the chat links for both of these in forms. And as always, we do have a growing group. And so if there's other areas you're interested in, let's talk. I'd love to have your name in mind when new opportunities come up. Thank you.
Next up, we have Isabella Loeffler. She's from BASF Ford AM, and she is the HR manager.
All right, so hi, my name is Isabel Loeffler, and I'm the responsible HR manager for the BASF 3D printing group in Heidelberg. I joined BASF in 2017, and I helped to build up our beautiful startup company. And now I would like to give you a little overview of our company. The company was founded in 2017 in Heidelberg, where we have currently about, I would say, 90 employees. Worldwide, we have more than 200 people. BASF 3D Printing has the headquarters in Heidelberg, and we are a 100% subsidiary of the BASF New Business Group. We have also offices in the US, in the Netherlands, in France, and also in Asia. We're focused on establishing and expanding under the Forward AM brand. With this brand, we would advance material system solutions, components, and services in the fields of 3D printing. From consultancy development through bespoke design, digital simulation, and prototype printing, to finishing exhaustive component testing, we provide exactly what all our partners need. At the beginning, we were heavily involved in the researching the individual materials, but now we are focused on 5 different areas. So these areas are the liquid formulations, the powder bed fusion, the additive extrusion solutions, the metal filaments, and the area of additive manufacturing services. BASF 3D Printing is organized in a startup-like structures. We cooperate closely with the global research platforms and application technologies of various departments. Actually, we are looking for a lot of working students and intern positions, but also about foreign application technology specialists in powder bed fusion knowledge, and also we are looking for an R&D technician. And I would say, if you have more questions, let's talk about this, and yeah, give me a chat or something like that. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Melissa Orme. I'm super excited to have her here. She is the Vice President of Additive Manufacturing at Boeing. So welcome, Melissa.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, I'm the Vice President of Boeing Additive Manufacturing, and this is our one-pager. Please note on the upper right-hand side, we have the link where you'll find the descriptions of the positions that we have available. And this just describes a little bit of the additive manufacturing activities that we have going on at Boeing. So, you know, on the left-hand side, that picture shows some of the products where we already have additive manufacturing components, manufactured components. You may not know it, but we have over 70,000 additive components on Boeing products, from commercial airplanes to fighter jets to satellites to helicopters to drones. So we have additive in all aspects of our business. And if you don't, understand a little more about Boeing, we have, Boeing commercial airplanes, we have Boeing Defense and Space and Boeing Global Services, and we work across the enterprise to bring in additive. And so we're working with polymers as well as metals, metal powder bed fusion, mostly in titanium and aluminum alloys, looking to onboard nickel-based alloys. We also work with tie wire feed and also blown powder or lens. So we're continuously evaluating the new, technologies. On the lower part of this chart, it shows, a little more detail of the material systems that we're currently using and some of our capability. On the upper right-hand side, it's really important, our culture. We're very, our BAM is Boeing Additive Manufacturing, and we're really, founded in a culture that is driven by respect, empowerment, and inclusion, and that's really important to us. And so, I wanted to highlight this on the chart. And the lower part of the chart shows what we're doing on the digital aspects. So we have a really strong focus on enabling the digital aspects of additive, from the digital thread, model-based engineering, data-driven modeling, physics-based modeling, and hybrid approaches, machine learning, AI, and so forth, in order to really streamline the value stream as well as the part. And that middle inset is really meant to depict the data that we capture and feed into those analytics. So in terms of the positions that we have available, we do have many. We have always internships, and that's and you'll find the internship link also on that jobs.boeing.com link. And we have currently on that, we have 2 industrial engineering positions for supporting additive manufacturing. We have 2 metallurgy positions, fractography specifically, to support additive manufacturing. We have 4 additive manufacturing engineers. We have 1 systems engineer to help with the integration of our digital aspects. And we're always updating. We have 2 technicians as well as for maintenance and repair of our assets. And what I wanted to really say is that these positions are continuously being updated and added, removed. So it's a dynamic process. If there's not something that fits today, please try tomorrow. We would really love to add motivated additive manufacturing enthusiasts to our team. We're really looking for that strong culture of inclusion and working with others and additive manufacturing. So that's it for me. And join, I have a table of about 6 people from my team, men and women, who can help answer the questions as well.
So there's a few questions here. Maybe we can do one real quick one. One, just for all the presenters that are coming up, there's been a request by several people to share the locations of your positions, specifically to Boeing. Does Boeing hire internationals, and are there any internship opportunities for students?
So there are internship opportunities. Yes, there are always internship opportunities. Depends on the international of the position, because there are a lot of things where you must be a US person, but not all. And the positions that we have available right now are for the Puget Sound in Seattle. And as I said, that does change in the future. We expect to have a few opening in El Segundo. So that is a constantly evolving, a dynamic list.
Thanks for coming, Melissa. Really appreciate it. We'll see you during the networking session. All right. So next up, we have Nils and Egil from DMG Mori.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thanks for taking the time. Brief introduction of DMG Mori for those of you who don't know the company yet too much in detail. We're a global company in 79 countries with offices pretty much in every corner of the world. Specifically in the US, we have about 20 offices from the east to the west coast. And in Chicago, the big bubble is showing our Additive Manufacturing Excellence Center, where most of our positions are located at. As a company in total, we have all technologies from the planning, from digitization, machining, all the way over to automation, and of course, additive manufacturing. And that's, I think, very exciting, really from the beginning to the end. We offer a holistic portfolio, which makes it very exciting to work at DMG Mori. Most of you are probably here because you're interested in the additive manufacturing side, so we'll focus a little bit more on that. And at DMG Mori, there is a variety of technologies from laser deposition welding to powder bed fusion as well. So in a nutshell, that's who DMG Mori is. And now let's talk about what we are looking for and who we are looking for. I mean, of course, we're looking for you. And if you're interested in working in product management, regional sales management roles, we have several openings right now. We are pretty much constantly looking for applications engineers, and at the moment we have 3 roles on the applications engineering side that spans from metallurgy, applications development, customer support, and then also field service engineers. We are looking at 2 positions right now over the US. So we have active opportunities, and we have constant opportunities as well. And I think, Egil, it's fair to say that outside of the additive manufacturing, we're also looking for several roles right
Correct.
now. Yeah. Now, one question that you might want to ask us is why do we work at DMG Mori, and what is our experience with the company? I think it's the people that make a difference. Do you want to go a little bit into your experience working with DMG Mori?
Yeah, sure. So I've actually been with DMG Mori for 5 years currently, and I've moved twice to different states within the United States. I've been in 4 different roles, and it's all growing career opportunities. I've also completed a leadership program within our company. So there's definitely growth, career opportunities, and our company's very, very diverse. We're definitely a dynamic company. We're looking for brand new, fresh faces, people that are, full of ideas, people that have experience, that don't have that much experiences. So don't get discouraged if you don't have experience. Apply and see where it takes you. And there's definitely many opportunities here to grow.
Yep. I can only echo that. I started my career with DMG Mori in Chicago 10 years ago. Since then, I've worked in a factory in Germany. I've worked in various roles here in the US. And what I really love about this company is the diversity and the different cultures we have here. Every day we're working with people in and from Asia, Europe, the Americas. And it's really a unique place to work at. So if all of this is interesting to you, then we'll be around at the table. We're going to post an email address in the chat where you can apply for open positions. But certainly, if you have more questions, we're happy to hear. We're excited to get to know you better.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring Michael Jones up next. Michael Jones is from Xometry. Super happy and excited to have him here. I see his links or his posts all the time on LinkedIn, so it's good to see you actually in person. I'll leave it to you.
All right, perfect. Well, everyone, my name is Michael Jones. I'm the manager of talent acquisition here and diversity inclusion at Xometry. So Xometry, we are a technology company specifically in the manufacturing space, headquartered in Maryland, Rockville, Maryland, as well as we have offices in Lexington, Kentucky, Jackson, Tennessee, Los Angeles, California, as well as in Europe, as well as in China. So to give you some context around Xometry, Xometry is, again, a technology company in the manufacturing space. And what will happen is a company will go onto our website and upload a 3D CAD file of a part that they need manufactured. And they'll get an instant quote within 5 to 7 seconds for how much that part is going to cost, how long that part is going to take to create, and then how long it's going to take to get to the customer. From there, it then goes to our partner network, and our partner network is about 6,000 machine shops around the world who will basically create that part, send that part to the customer, and then everyone is happy. So if you think of Xometry, we are kind of like the Netflix, the Airbnb, the Amazon of the manufacturing space. And what's key with our company is what we provide in 5 to 7 seconds typically will take a company anywhere from really realistically, probably anywhere between 4 to 6 months to get the quotes from the variety of different places that they'll go to, as well as even start the processing and the creating of the part. So if, again, we are like a on-demand instant quoting system that is kind of, that takes the place through our AI system. And as you can see from this particular slide, the manufacturing market, the custom manufacturing market is a $260 billion global market. And our goal at Xometry is to take up as much of that market while also providing services for mom and pop manufacturing shops around the world to be able to have business and be connected to global companies such as Tesla's and NASA's, those types of companies of the world. So currently, Xometry, we are doing 40% of our business with Fortune 500 companies, and those companies range from aerospace and defense, technology, automotive, as well as the medical and device. Like I said, we have an office in Asia, United States, and Europe is where we're based. Currently 3 continents, 22 different countries worldwide, as well as 46 of the 50 states here in the United States. Where we work, we have our main headquarters is in Maryland, And then we have a variety of different people who work in the United States in remote capacities as well. Here's just a slide of our C-suite. Again, founded in 2013, 33,000 customers in North America and Europe. Currently 512 employees. When I got here at Xometry 2.5 years ago, I was employee number 51. So it's been interesting to see the company go from 51 to 512 in a short amount of time. And then the most exciting thing is, as of today, our company actually just went public. So there's a bunch of different things going on in the office. I was a little nervous because I didn't know if there was going to be still continued yelling and shouting as the company is, having a bunch of different parties going on in our different offices. So it's been an exciting journey at Xometry as we've continued to grow. And then this last slide just shows our open positions. So we currently have 76 open positions around the world. Our positions are required for, specifically for US-based positions, do need to be within the either United States citizen or green card holders. And I had dropped the link for our careers page. So if you are interested within the operations, technology, sales, marketing, so on and so forth, by all means, please visit our careers page, and my email information is also attached. And I'll share this slide so everyone has it. Thank you.
Awesome, Michael. Maybe you can also, whoever is manning your table later, you can have them share this slide as well. When you go to the networking sessions, you can just click on it and you'll be able to zoom it up so it's big. So
Okay.
you can read it.
Perfect.
Another thing I hope you don't mind me saying is, if you're interested in Xometry, I highly recommend following Michael on LinkedIn, because I see his posts almost daily, and there's always something new and it's always something interesting. So I hope you don't mind me saying so.
No
and
issue.
congratulations on going public. That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, so next up we have Genevieve Lee. She is from Fast Radius, and she's a manufacturing engineer specifically for additive technologies. So take it away.
Hi, so my name is Genevieve Lee, and like Kristin said, I am a manufacturing engineer with Additive Technologies, primarily working with HP multi-jet fusion and also supporting our carbon and Formlabs fleets, even though my background's in metal additive and all sorts of things. So Kristin, can you play that video right now?
Fast Radius is a manufacturing partner powered by digital technology and backed by people. We've made over 10 million parts using technologies like CNC machining, injection molding, urethane casting, and additive manufacturing. We know the challenges that product companies face today. The world's demand is changing, supply chains are evolving. Manufacturing has to get faster, smarter, and more agile to keep pace. That's why we purpose-built our operations to help companies like yours access the valuable insights and infrastructure you need to get ahead. We'll show you what we mean, starting with a tour of our globally recognized factories, also known as our production centers. We're proud to operate the most advanced industrial-grade 3D printing technologies, including HP multi-jet fusion, fused deposition modeling with Stratasys, stereolithography with Formlabs, and carbon digital light synthesis. In fact, we have the largest public-facing install base of carbon printers in North America. Our production centers also host another key digital manufacturing technology, CNC machining. This includes 3-axis, 5-axis, and turning capabilities. In order to offer you competitive costs across processes, we've also built a global network of production partners, handpicked by our supply chain team for their commitment to quality. All of these best-in-class manufacturing technologies are at your fingertips when you partner with Fast Radius. Our cloud manufacturing platform collects data from every point of the production process, from the moment you upload your file to the second your part ships. Once you start making parts with Fast Radius, a whole new world of opportunity will start to open up. One where you will have insights, support, and access to technology that will help you make anything possible. Thanks for touring Fast Radius's digital manufacturing operations with us. We're ready and able to help you make new things possible for your business. Contact us today to talk about your project.
Okay, so Fast Radius, we're trying to build out a vision to disrupt the manufacturing industry. And we're basically trying to give customers like a window into manufacturing to really see and understand what the best technology is for them to build their products, whether that's new manufacturing methods such as 3D printing and additive, or old ones, traditional manufacturing methods like CNC machining or injection molding. My role at Fast Radius, I work on a team of manufacturing engineers, and after parts get through the autocaster, after they're auto designed, I take those CAD files from the customer and make sure that they're prepped and ready to go on our factories on the floor in Chicago. Make sure those are running along smoothly and get those parts to customers' hands on time and with good quality. The team members that I work with are so passionate about delivering the best to customers, whether that's manufacturing and design insights or the best quality parts that are on time. And being immersed in Fast Radius's workplace culture, like experience the passion of the team members there, is incredibly crazy and so inspiring. It's a huge reason why I started. I've joined Fast Radius, and even during the interview, you can. It's palpable how on fire they are for the work that they do every day. It's like a big reason that that Fast Radius won one of Chicago's Chicago Innovation Award, and they're one of the top innovative companies among the world. And I can say it's so energizing to work with people who are so knowledgeable about materials and manufacturing across the industry, and work with people who are problem solvers and who make new things possible. Fast Radius is growing really fast in 2021, and I love seeing the new people with different backgrounds bringing in their experiences. We have a lot of openings on fastradius.com/careers that you can look at, including customer application engineers and sales, among other roles that are open across the departments. And I'm really excited to be a part of this and see everyone who's interested, especially the women who are interested in 3D printing and are driving more representation in the industry. So swing by our table and give us and come chat with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Genevieve. And one little final note on Fast Radius. Actually, the woman in 3D printing founder, Nora Ture, she actually works at Fast Radius as well. So if you join them, you'll get to work alongside her. Next up, we have Diana Verdugo. She's from Formlabs. She's the partnerships and communications lead, or community lead, excuse me. Diana, do you want to turn your camera and mic on? Next up after that, we have GE Additive. We have Amber and Draco. Is that how you pronounce it? Please correct me if I butchered that. She's the section manager at GE Additive Materials and Processes.
Thanks, Kristin. So yes, GE Additive is really a global company, and not only are we an OEM of various additives, but we're also users. So we tend to understand the challenges which make us challenge ourselves to produce the best products, including feedstock and materials process, which is where my background comes in. We have locations, in multiple countries around the world, including Germany, Sweden, the US, Canada, and also several of the roles can be kind of satellite or remote depending on the job. But these would span across the three main modalities that we have, including laser powder bed fusion, electron beam powder bed fusion, binder jetting, as well as material feedstock. So we tend to work directly with our customers to help them adopt additive quicker. We've lived the trials and tribulations. I've been with GE for 17 years, and 14 of those years I've been working in the metal additive space. So we've kind of seen everything from the development going into production. We've lived it, and we're helping our customers live that journey as well. The goal is for them to get into production and get them out of that exploratory phase and move into production quicker. We have close relationships also with our internal customers, such as GE Aviation as well as GE Research, and that really helps build a network of colleagues across the multiple divisions and the multiple disciplines that can exist within a large company like GE. I'll highlight too that with this being a Women in 3D Printing event, GE is very active in diversity and inclusion initiatives, and I'm spearheading a women's network, which is specific for GE Additive, but we are linking into the global GE women's network as well. And there's multiple groups within GE that span different diversity and inclusion initiatives. In terms of different roles that we have, and please feel free to come to our table and talk to us about some of them. My background being in engineering, we do have several engineering roles. Some of them are more internally based, some are more customer facing. This can be, manufacturing engineers, software and control engineers, systems, process and application engineers. There's also several quality roles and quality engineering roles that are posted. And this is not only quality for the machine builds, but also quality for customer parts that we're working with. And so you kind of can see the entire step from being part of the machine builds up to going into production with some of our customer partners. We also have roles in what we call the people office or human resources, as well as supply chain and sourcing fulfillment. So as I said, we would love to meet some of you, come to our table. We'd love to understand why you love additive manufacturing and if you have interest in any of the roles that we have open.
Diana, you there?
I'm here. Yes.
Hey.
Hello, technology. I'm back in the office today. New systems. Hello, everybody. I'm Diana. I lead partnerships and community at Formlabs. It's really exciting to hear all the recognizing all the open positions and the opportunities in the industry, as well as the new priorities, should I say, or formalized priorities around diversity, inclusion, and Formlabs is sharing values here, and I'm really excited to let you know a little bit more about it. I'm going to share that might help articulate where we're at. So Formlabs is a company based in Boston, but now spread across the world. We were founded 10 years ago out of the MIT Media Lab. Our mission is one that keeps me here every day. It's to expand access to digital fabrication so anyone can make anything. We do that through identifying, mixing professional outcomes with desktop usability. Really excited to share that we had just upped our valuation, and now we are worth $2 billion, which means there's a lot of growth and we're hiring a lot. We have 565 employees. I joined at like 140, so it's really cool to see the way that we dynamically grow across the world. We've shipped a bunch of printers. That means we have a lot of customers and we have a lot of insights around what people do with 3D printing. And we grow a lot every year. So that means obviously in business and success, but also in teams and new focus and responsibilities. Our printers, in case you don't know, we can definitely talk to you more about them, but basically one's based on nylon powder, but our bread and butter started with nylon resin, with resin, and that was essentially a desktop printer that brought a lot of value in a professional way in a size that was more easy to use. We have a lot going on. Through the creation of new materials opens new applications. And so as you can see, we have expand across a bunch of different industries. And as you can see here, from engineering to product design to entertainment and jewelry, dental, other industries are growing and growing in new directions when we get more specific with the materials that we bring to our products. So a lot of typical cases in engineering. On the left, we have customers like from OXO to Boeing and everything in between. Dental has opened up a lot of opportunities for us as we get to know the needs of the customer base more, from biocompatible materials to models and braces to dentures. We also have the community element and biased here, but it's a really important part of what informs our products and the way that we spend our day-to-day in business. And so naturally, I think all the companies in this meeting have contributed in really meaningful ways to COVID, and we were really on a pulse of learning what people could do best at the time when we had some shortages of supply chain. We have really fun applications where we see our printers as props, but also as the tool to create props. We created shoes with New Balance and razors with Gillette. And here's a library of growing materials that just continues to expand. Our customers, I think a lot of us share these, but recognizing that kind of anything is possible with 3D printing. So if there's a company, we could probably figure out an application that's valuable through 3D printing. But we get to learn and talk with these companies directly. So who are we looking for? You. We're looking for curious, dynamic problem solvers, and we're hiring for all teams. marketing, sales, operations, finance, people operations, we call POPs, everything in between. We do really value our interns and give full-time or should I say 40-hour-a-week in opportunities in our global offices. That includes Boston, Berlin, and then we have offices in China and Japan and Singapore as well. A few specific shout outs that I wanted to give light to are account executives in sales, mechanical engineers, integration engineer, and my team is hiring and part of the marketing team, but specifically looking for a 3D modeler and events manager. So also a product marketing manager. So definitely bring your questions to our table. Megan from our POPs people, from our recruitment team is going to be there, and she's a dog mom and a human mom and has been at Formlabs for about 8 years, so she's a lot of value. She was on the sales team before. Ritika, who is an intern who's been working with me, we actually met on Remo at the Type conference, so thank you 3D Printing, thank you Women in 3D Printing for introducing us, but she's been an intern. So from all walks of life, we have a lot of insights, hopefully, that we can answer for you guys from the Formlabs perspective.
Great, thanks, Diana. So Formlabs is the last company that's on the first floor. Next up, we're going to move over to HC Stark Solutions. This is Faith Orlerking. I should have asked you how to pronounce your last name. I just call you Faith. So I'll leave it to you. She's an additive manufacturing R&D engineer, and she is a fantastic speaker. If you ever see her at any events, I recommend stopping by and seeing her presentations.
Great. Hi, thank you. Is actually Faith Orlerking. You're very close, but happy to be here. I work for a company called HC Stark Solutions. My technical role is R&D additive manufacturing engineer. So really happy to be here and share some of our new and upcoming positions that are open. If you're unfamiliar with HC Stark Solutions, we don't have necessarily a history in additive, but we do have a long history in part manufacturing and metal manufacturing for refractory metals. We supply powder as well as final fabricated components to a lot of different industries, including electronics, aerospace, medical, industrial processing, and most recently in the past few years, additive manufacturing as well. If you're curious what refractory metals are, they're kind of listed on the bottom right there. We're talking about metals that are called niobium, molybdenum, tantalum, and tungsten. Going next slide. So we are actually a global company. We have a lot of different locations in the US. Coldwater, Michigan is where I'm located. This is where we have our laser powder bed fusion system. We also have US locations in Euclid, Ohio, which is right outside of Cleveland, and then Newton, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. Newton is actually our headquarters. And as of right now, we have open positions in all 3 of our US sites, which I'll go over here in a little bit. We also have locations in Taichung, Hermsdorf, Germany, and Calm in the UK. Just to go over a little bit of our materials, again, we are focused on refractory metals, which are those listed here on the left. If you're unfamiliar with those, that's okay. They're definitely very niche materials, but they're known for their high temperature properties. They're one of the metals out there that has the highest melting temperatures on the periodic table that can be fabricated. And so we have that expertise on how to manufacture those, whether it's in traditional processing or now additive manufacturing as well. I'll leave this up for a couple seconds just so that you can see all the things that we can provide. But these are great materials, very high performing, and go into a lot of complex engineering problems out there today. We do have some key activities in additive manufacturing, which is a lot of where my role lies. We have a lot of activities in powder development, so actually providing the feedstock that goes into metal additive manufacturing. We can provide that in powder form as well as wire form. But we also do component printing. So we have invested in additive manufacturing in the past couple of years. We have a Renishaw machine located in Coldwater, Michigan. But we have research opportunities in all different types of metal AM technologies. They're listed here: 3D screen printing, powder bed fusion, Binder jet printing has been gaining a lot of interest lately, as well as directed energy deposition. So if there is a metal AM technology, we're looking into it, we're researching it, and how to basically implement those technologies for our materials out there. This is just kind of a list of the different opportunities we have available at the moment. Right now, I want to highlight the one that's in Euclid, Ohio, our senior staff R&D engineer. Most of our R&D roles will be what's included in additive manufacturing. So this senior staff engineer will basically be located in Euclid, Ohio, focused on not only additive manufacturing, but alloy development as well. So we have a booth, definitely, or a table on the second floor. As Kristin said, we are definitely always open to all talent interested in additive manufacturing and just metal manufacturing in general. So we'd be happy to talk with you, and I can share my experience in additive manufacturing with refractories as well. I think that's it, Kristin. If there's any questions, feel free to ask me, or we have some other representatives here as well.
Great, thanks, Faith. So as she said, she's on the second floor. Next up, we have David Pierick from HP. He's the Worldwide Applications Development Manager. Take it away, Dave.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with Isabel Sands, and she's going to post a link to the job openings that we have in the chat, and then we'll be on the second floor, so please come visit us. I manage the application development engineers on a worldwide basis, and I'm going to talk a little bit about HP, a little bit about 3D, and then things I'm proud about, and then the positions. All of you know HP, it's a huge company, 59, close to $60 billion in revenue, 55,000 employees, and about 1,000 to 1,200 of those are in additive manufacturing based around the world. We were ranked last year #1 on America's most responsible companies and #6 in most sustainable companies in the world. And we do have a new CEO in the past 2 years named Enrique Lores. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to listen to him, but absolutely incredible leader, super into the diversity, and is focusing our company to win with a diverse and interactive group. So in terms of the people, we have the most diverse board of directors among the U.S. technology companies, and we've committed to double the number of African-American executives in the company by 2025. Very proud of that. I'm very proud of how we treat people, and I'm very proud of the leadership that we've shown not only in COVID, but also in diversity. In terms of 3D manufacturing, we're out to disrupt the manufacturing business. It's over a $500 billion addressable market. We have 2 solutions. One is in plastics called multi-jet fusion. One is in metal called metal jet technology. And, you know, base of this slide is we're winning. We have 50% of the market share in the industrial plastic and additive manufacturing, and we are the most used industrial 3D printer in the world. And we've done all that in about 4 years. So very proud of that accomplishment, and very excited about where we're going to head in the future. Serial production, we have Smile Direct Club, Volkswagen, many other supporters. We have great partnerships with Siemens, New Balance, BASF, who you've seen before today. And then in terms of what am I proud about? And I just want to talk about a couple of the applications. One here in the upper right-hand side, you'll see this speaker by Sing, and this is a very high-end speaker. And this middle component right here is the part that we've helped design and manufacture. It has super tight tolerances to achieve the sound that they're looking for, as well as very strict cosmetic requirements. And we've been able to help them manufacture this into the thousands of these per month, and we're very excited about that with very high yields. In the lower right-hand corner, I'm proud of the friends that I've made around the world. These are all applications engineers. During our summit in Barcelona, so we meet in Barcelona twice a year, obviously not during COVID times, but we always have some sort of team building activity. And then probably the thing I'm most proud about is on the left-hand side, HP allows us to do charitable work. This is an example of a young man who lost a leg. And what we did is we went down and we scanned 30 to 60 of these people with missing limbs and designed and built orthotics and prosthetics that in some cases is the first time some of these people have been able to walk. So this is a 3D printed socket, multi-jet fusion socket, along with a liner. And I'm very proud that HP allows us to do that. We do that once a year in Guatemala and once now in Africa per year. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Great.
David. Next, we're going to move on to Krish. If Krish, you want to go ahead and turn your camera on. Krish is from Henkel 3D Printing. She's a global digital and omnichannel excellence lead. Krish, I'll share your slides and you can take it away.
Super. Thanks, Kristin, and thanks everybody at Women in 3D Printing team for making it work. And I think it's really amazing as well. Yeah. And I think this is my colleague's name, but so I will introduce you a little bit about Henkel. So as many of you might already know, Henkel is a very traditional company based from Düsseldorf, Germany, more than 100 years old, I would say. Kristin, if you could go to the next one. And most of the products that comes from Henkel, you might have at least used in once in your time. There are laundry care, adhesive technologies, beauty care products. So it's very wide range. We range from very industrial, automotive, aerospace, and also very consumer related, like the shampoos that you might use on a daily basis. And there are also very professional range ones that people use in salons. So it's really hard to miss this brand many times. The next one, please. So as I mentioned, that Henkel focuses in three main business areas. So adhesive technologies, this was the main route where Henkel was established in the early days. We started from the industrial glues that you can use for construction, furnishing, automotive, sticking your windshield to the main car frame. So you name it, everything kind of includes in that business. And 3D printing is an incubator under the adhesive technology. So to promote this new trend culture, what Henkel has done is to establish incubators under each businesses where there are opportunities for smaller startups to grow, whether by acquisition or by ideas that's born inside the company. And we have three different incubators under adhesive technology. So one is 3D printing. The second one is printed electronics, which focuses in the industry 4.0. The broader digitalization. And the third one is advanced manufacturing of sealing solutions. And there are more in the pipeline, which I'm sure that you will hear in the recent days. The next one, please. Yeah, so these are some of the brands that you might come across in your daily life. Loctite is one of the main brands which we represent our 3D printing solutions for. And we have always been a great promoter. So if one time you come to any of our offices in Henkel, it's predominantly women. Not intentional, but it happened, so I guess. And we also do a lot of activities where employees can pitch in like voluntary activities or engage in social impacts initiatives like clean energy or eco-friendly products. So it's a lot evolving. And one thing about being a Henkel employee is that you get to be part about it. And if you're interested, you always get a choice to whether get involved. or move on with your interest in the company. And having that wide portfolio, it's always easier also to look for jobs that you might be interested in. So let's say you are a mechanical engineer today, and tomorrow you want to be in a management position, then you always have an opportunity to try. And my colleagues who are almost 30 years with the company, they always say that you don't feel like it's the same company when there is different opportunities to explore from. Yeah, so we are on the floor too, so please feel free to come in and have a conversation to check out. Where we are looking for positions are mainly in Connecticut, Rocky Hill, and Düsseldorf, Germany. Thank you. Thanks, Kristin.
Great. Thanks, Krish. Up next, we have Link3D. We have Roxanne Warren. She's the Director of Industry Partnerships. Roxanne, do you want to come and join us?
All right, perfect. And we're going to start with a quick company overview.
One fine day, I get a call from my co-founder, Shane Fox, and he asked me, Vishal, I'm trying to build something in Additive. Do you want to join hands? And first question I ask him is, why can't my software talk to machines? Everything is interconnected, and why are we not able to send jobs to machines directly? And like there was no answer. The industry was not there yet. This is back in 2016. Link3D is an additive manufacturing execution system, allowing for a connected digital thread and a connected ecosystem, helping our customers solve mission-critical problems on additive factory floor.
Link3D provides a software-as-a-service solution to a host of industry segments such as aerospace, defense, oil and gas, even the consumer market, automotive, basically the organizations that are in highly regulated industries. Link3D provides that end-to-end infrastructure that enables the capturing, the managing, and the reporting of the quality data associated with the manufacturing of the parts going through their operations. Because at the end of the day, our customers are really looking for our software solution to enable their ROI.
The engagement model that we use at Link3D allows our partners' teams to come alongside Link3D and prepare their teams for change. They have to understand and align the resources all the way up to executive sponsors and down to the finest users that things are going to change, and they have to embrace both the systems, the people, and the process changes that are coming.
The key challenge today is the space is fragmented. There is no unified, connected software provider which is trying to connect and bring all the players together. And Link3D has taken that responsibility on itself to bring the machine OEMs in one room, to bring the software providers in one room so that we can provide a connected ecosystem, which is the key thing that the industry needs to move away from these siloed softwares.
We work with our customers to create lasting partnerships that are built on trust, that are built on a level of transparency, that they recognize that we're there for them and with them, not just today, but for the life of the partnership that we're ultimately creating.
In the next 3 to 5 years, the additive manufacturing ecosystem in terms of software will grow a lot. So with this union of materialized technology with Link3D, I think it will bring unprecedented level of workflow automation. It will provide a connected digital thread, and it will truly accomplish end-to-end data feedback loop, leading to further efficiencies and shortened design of experiment and faster NPI cycles.
So our software is great, but it's the people that make it better. And that's what makes Link3D great.
Virtual hiring event, and as you probably saw, my name is Roxanne Warren. I'm the Director of Industry Partnerships here at Link3D. My colleagues Janet Carr as well as Lisa, our Head of Organizational Development, are with me today, and we're actively recruiting for software engineers, as you could probably imagine, as well as a couple of, we're always in the market for great our customer success or customer operations team. So we're on floor 2, and we're looking forward to talking with you more. Thanks, Kristin.
Great. Thanks, Roxanne. Up next, we have Mantle. We have Kim Hayashi. She's from Mantle. She's going to give you a brief overview, and we're going to play a video. I can tell you from experience, Mantle is a really awesome company. So this is one to look for.
Sweet. First, thanks, Kristin, and thanks to all the people at Women in 3D Printing for putting on this awesome event for us. As Kristin said, I'm Kim from Mantle. We are a startup based in San Francisco, and we are developing a precision metal 3D printers, specifically targeting the tooling industry. Our technology is redefining the achievable dimensional tolerances in metal additive parts and doing it over a range of geometries with crisp and fine features, and all while reducing manufacturing time and cost. Through real-world testing, our materials have demonstrated equivalent performance, behavior, and properties to standard industry materials. That includes our ability to mold high-temp and abrasive engineering plastics. And Kristin, this is where I'll have you jump in, and if you can show a short video for us to give you more insight in what we're doing. Thanks, Kristin. Thanks for watching our video and learning more about what we're doing at Mantle in San Francisco. And today joining me is my coworker, Steve Connor, and we are looking to hire a lot of different roles. Mantle today is about 30 people, and we'll be doubling in size. And so we are hiring in all departments and across all different levels, from entry, mid-level, and senior roles. So if you're interested and think Mantle is a great fit for you, please come by our table and chat with us on the second floor.
Great, Kim. Thank you so much. It was really interesting to see what Mantle's doing. As she said, she's on the second floor, and I can attest Mantle's a super interesting company, so I highly recommend checking it out. Up next, we have Xerox. We have Chris Mangan that's going to be joining us, as well as Tally Rossman. She's the general manager at Xerox 3D Printing. So Tally, welcome to the stage. I'll leave it to you two.
Hey, Christine. Hey, everybody. Very happy to be here, and thank you for having such a great event. We're going to be talking to you about Xerox 3D Printing and what we're doing here. So I'm Tally. I'm the general manager, And with me is Chris Mangan, our talent acquisition leader. And we welcome all of you to reach out to us in LinkedIn after this call. We're hiring for a multitude of North Carolina Center of Excellence, which we recently opened. It's a fantastic office in the heart of the Research Triangle Park. We have quite a few openings here across, we're looking for controls engineering, software developers, electrical engineer, designers, and a few other roles. And do not, even if you don't see the role that you're focusing on posted in our careers website, please do not hesitate to reach out to Chris or me via LinkedIn. We're always on the hunt for new talents as we're growing Xerox digital manufacturing and 3D printing team. And really what we're doing in this business, it's kind of a new company within Xerox. So we're kind of a startup within a corporate, trying to get the best of all worlds. So leveraging, the Xerox resources and Xerox's brand recognition, but at the same time, we're a startup, we're fast moving, we're working on exciting technologies. We don't have the red tape of a big company. So it's the best of all worlds, and so is our technology, which is basically set to allow you to reap the benefits of 3D printing, which you all know of, but without the cumbersomeness that existing technologies have. So earlier this year, you're welcome to check it out on our website. We launched our liquid metal 3D printer. It leverages wire instead of powder, which makes it much easier to implement for companies, much easier to use. It's probably as close as you're going to get to plug and play with production grade equipment. What we launched is the first generation of the first printer. So we have a very busy roadmap, and we're looking for top talents to help us make this platform the best platform in the industry. With that, as I was saying, we're building a company that is meant to be very significant for Xerox, which is a large company on its own. So LMX, or liquid metal platform, might be the first thing we've done, but it's not the only thing we're focusing on. We're also developing cutting edge software solutions, the first one of which we're going to be launching towards the end of this year. So this is a great opportunity to join us when we're, still in double digit land. We're coming very close to 100 people, but we're still, a small startup, and it's a great opportunity to join us in the ground floor. As I was mentioning, the liquid metal printer is really the area where we're hiring a lot of people to help us take this platform, this production grade platform that is, again, very easy to implement, very easy to use, as close as you're going to get to plug and play, help us drive it to further success by adding more material, by improving the capabilities. So we're looking for top talents across the board for that. As I was mentioning, we're getting close to 100 people here. So this startup is extremely fast growing. We are on the hunt for top talents. We've been hiring people from, case in point, I'm former Stratasys, so we've been hiring people from Stratasys, from BASF, from 3D Systems, from Boeing, from Ford, from Eaton. So we have a lot of excellent professionals, a nice blend of Xerox veterans and new hires. We have a massive R&D team with PhDs across the board. And interestingly, even though in terms of the commercialization side, we're just getting started, on the research front, we have a very rich portfolio that's ripe for commercialization with hundreds of patents across hardware, materials, and software. So I know we just got kind of 2 or 3 minutes. So I just wanted to tease you enough to check out our website for more details. And of course, Chris and myself are here to answer any questions you might have on LinkedIn, whether or not you see the position you're interested in, because again, we're growing, we're hiring, we're adding new roles every day.
Great. Well, thanks, Kelly. As I said, they're going to be here on the second floor for the networking session. As a note, all of the companies here are in alphabetical order. The first half, they are on the first floor. The second half are on the second floor. So, and there's also some details on the side of the screen when we go back to the networking. But now, last but not least, certainly we have Trump. Trump, we have Adam Simons. He's the head of sales and product at Additive Manufacturing at Trump. Trump is a platinum sponsor of both. Trump is a platinum sponsor of both Type 2021 as well as last year they were platinum sponsor of Type 2020. So let me bring Adam back up on screen and I'll hand it over to him. Adam, you can go ahead and turn your camera and mic on.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Sorry about that. All right, over to you.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Thank you, Kristin. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me on stage. As Kristin mentioned, my name's Adam Simons. I'm the head of sales and product for additive manufacturing at Trump North America. I've been involved in additive manufacturing and engineering technology for over 10 years, and so it's been truly inspiring to see the Women in 3D Printing network grow and thrive the way that it has. It's great to be able to share information with you all. Well, Trump is a family-owned business based in Germany with over 70 subsidiaries across the globe, including our North American laser technology division based in Plymouth, Michigan. As a family-owned business, we make long-term decisions and provide our people with the trust and stability needed to bring their ideas to fruition. As a market and technology leader in both machine tools and lasers, we offer a unique opportunity to partner with our customers and shape the manufacturing of the future. So within the laser technology group, it was the additive equipment portfolio that we support. So we develop, manufacture, sell, and support both laser powder bed fusion and laser metal deposition technologies. And we really focus on supplying very robust, highly productive metal additive equipment to support applications in a multitude of industries, aerospace, space, medical, automotive, energy, and many other industrial applications. So we're very excited to be recruiting for a new additive manufacturing product and project manager. This role is very critical to the success of our team. It'll be involved in pre-sales, post-sales technology support. You'll be working very closely with other AM product managers throughout the world to promote Trump as a partner for additive technology, but solely focused on the North American market. So training, supporting sales organization within Trump, as well as our representatives and distributors throughout the country, and also in regards to the laser powder bed and deposition products and the related accessories. You'd be participating in live and future virtual events to discuss technology and AM applications, such as ones through the Women in 3D Printing or ASME or other AM-related events and topics. Really focused on including production forecasting, new product release information, product strategy, and pricing for all the products that we mentioned, and being able to manage projects with customers from really start to finish. So kickoff meetings with customers, including any Trump-related resources, as well as just taking it all the way through to that on-site visitor to customers, for owning the project from start to really installation and acceptance when applicable. So we're really looking for engineer-related personnel, so engineering degree or mechanical or manufacturing engineering experience. Experience in project management in industrial manufacturing environment would be ideal, and experience in metal additive, specifically equipment or application knowledge, would be preferred. So we will be on floor 2. You can definitely stop by and learn more or talk about the position in more detail. Also, as a lot of you may know, my colleague Eliana Fu, who is the Las Vegas chapter representative for the Women in 3D Printing, and obviously very involved with the network. So she is a great resource for information on roles at Trump as well. Thank you again.
Great, thanks, Adam. So that wraps it up. We got all 16 companies. We got through them all, and not too far behind. So we will be going straight to the networking now. The networking is technically scheduled to be open till 1, but we will leave the event open at least till 1:30 or 2, depending on how many people are around. So don't feel a need to rush. jump around as you please, but I do recommend starting probably with your highest priorities so you don't miss them if they do happen to have to leave early. So thank you, everyone. We'll be going back to the networking now.